I am Cruellica Kain. I am with the Toku and Animation News Network, and I am here with a whole bunch of people because we're going to have a fun conversation with Mr. Bill Butts.
I'm Bill.
I like you guys the old TV show I grew up with as a kid.
Come on down. But my name is Bill Butts. I voice a bunch of characters in anime video games, from Jack and One Piece all the way down to Barack Obama and Baki. It's a fun job, fun life, and y'all, I'm just happy to be here, for real.
Honestly, when I saw you in opening ceremonies and just throughout the con itself, you are two things that really stand out to me. You are very relaxed and you just enjoy life, but at the same time, you are passionate about equality. And that for me is huge. Not from a personal standpoint of what we do for a channel, not because of a career or anything, but from a personal childhood experience.
Huh.
Because I grew up in a very segregated area in New York.
Really?
Buffalo, New York is basically boundary line segregate neighborhoods. And I didn't have a chance in my childhood to learn diversity until I was the age of 12.
Oh, wow.
And I'm a child of the 80s. So it was very difficult to learn diversity, and when I was thrown into it, I was scared to death because I always heard terrible things. And it was frightening, but my closest friends today are people of color, people of various gender equality, various normatives, and I want to say, one, thank you for being so inclusive, because I fear with all that's going on that there's more children that grow up like me than not. And you being a spokesperson and so passionate about diversity, and I am too, truthfully, I do it every day now,
Yeah.
but what drives you to keep doing that?
Honestly, it's the drive to really see change. Like, I had a good panel last night. This wonderful gentleman here actually sat in on, and how do I describe this? It's interesting because I grew up in Kansas City, so I went to school into like a late East high school with already students there. I was one of 6 black kids, and we had 1 Asian. Yeah, I let that sink in there. And the shame, even with education, is this segregation, this hate that there's something that is very well taught. Actually,
Yes.
No one's born being like, I hate that person because they're darker than me. And from both sides, one, that's just foolish.
Yes.
It's foolish to actually even kind of do that there, because you will have this thing that's been taught them generation for generation, to look down upon someone because they look different, or maybe they act a little bit different. And it's a shame. It's a shame. And for me, I've come to find in my life, growing up in Kansas City as a black man is hard. It's very hard. You get that hate again and again and again and again and again. But it's kind of like this Malcolm X to Professor X, and I think where I'm going with this, where it's like you can either respond to the hate with hate, or you can okay it and kind of just talk about it.
Yes.
Peaceful bits about it. And the peaceful bit is harder, but at the same time, it squashes it a lot better in a single generation, which is my personal goal. A lot of folks out there will have that hate and they don't understand it, but when you have them have a conversation with them, have them actually question, why do you think that? I want to really talk about you. 2 things happen. One, you squash that in the head that their parents are right. They think all we're like angry drug dealers, pimps, hoes, whatnot, down to maybe they play sports and do drugs. Now, there's besides that I'm going to talk about here in a second. You can prove them wrong with elegant conversation, like we're all having right now. And at the same time, you have them question their own thoughts, because I come to find that as time's going on, America is having people have things thrown at them, but not allowed to think for themselves. And that's true education, my point there. So they can open up their mind and realize, wow, when I think for myself, this is actually something really foolish. We went to the same schools, we have the same church, or whatever you do in your life, went to the same park, play the same sports. The difference only is where our bloodline comes from.
Absolutely.
Okay, can I say we all came from Africa? Technically, yes. But at the same time, it's like there are cultural differences. And at the same time, going back to you're talking about people who we know, could be your gender identity, could be your skin tone, things like that. I find those differences to be something that is actually beautiful. It should be celebrated. Completely. Like, I will not get Irish culture. They might not understand like black culture at all, but we can celebrate them all together. You can educate me on that, and I'll educate you on that. I'll bring you to the cookout, and you can bring me to any Irish fest you want. We'll have a great time.
So you bring the barbecue, the Irish bring the bagpipes.
You know what? Let's go. I saw this thing online that was like amazing. It was like an Indian like wedding, but they mixed that with like Irish bagpipes, and it actually was the dopest thing I've seen in my life. I'm like, I am 1,000% about this wedding. I have no understanding of it, but it is amazing. Because like that's a little bit of cultural kind of mixes I really, really love, because they're celebrating together, but at the same time, like, this is how we do it, but you can mix it up a little bit. So I think that's beautiful. Now, for me, it also comes to like work. Mm-hmm. All right, cool. So work-wise, I didn't see anybody who looked like me.
Absolutely.
In this business at all. And like it's nearly almost like 15 years ago, I'm at a con. And we're doing a fun little like joke panel, and this crashed by Keith Silverstein. Listen, I'll say this much right now: I will always give credit where credit is due. Mm-hmm. Went up to Keith afterward. I was like, "Hey, fam, listen, I know like you and Bo, and that's all I see who looks like me doing this. It's important when I say that." I said, "How'd you get into it?" He sits to me for like an hour, and he tells me a life acting agent's work like that. There, I was like, "Thanks." Little did he know, I changed my major for theater and journalism. I studied Shakespeare, contemporary song, engineering the works to every extreme. Got the agent, and now was at a con with him. It's just kind of crazy. Now, the thing about that is, it's something I needed to see. Mm-hmm. Because this goes back to what do kids see as they're taught? They see MTV at the time, born in '86, grew up in the '90s. They see what BET, MTV, and the news, which is a whole other thing, is showing them what they're trying to portray my people, y'all's people as. So what do we learn? Oh, that's what it is, and that's not true.
Oh, 100%.
We do things like, all right, cool, and then when Abe Lincoln did the Emancipation Proclamation, slavery was over. It's like, right. What up when they killed Martin Luther King? About, was almost 60 years ago? We're going to talk about that?
I mean, we can even look at more recent events, too, like Breonna Taylor, go hard in, because like, I think on similar in the same vein, mm-hmm. not exactly to the same extreme, but I'm coming from a very conservative family. Yeah. And it's just like, I am trying to get out of a situation where it's like, my household, the N-word is said in the worst connotations in a lot of cases, but I'm stuck there. I'm trying to break out. Like, I even got told, like, why are you not looking for a job and hanging out with all these weirdos? Mm. So it just like, it's obviously not to the same extent y'all have growing up. I'm nowhere close to having the same struggles. There's so many similarities that we can also look at and have that representation, even if it's like, I'm not dark skinned, I'm not here, but I can still look up to you, and I have. Absolutely. You are so many people's childhoods. Like, even if it's not like, you are still representative of so many more facets than just one, which is amazing. And you're not the only, and what the awesome thing too is you're not the only one. Yeah. There's so many other people. Like, it just amazing where society's going, and it just keeps progressing, but there's still something that's like tugging back.
I want to circle back. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Go. You say you want 2 seconds?
2 seconds.
Just 2 seconds.
What you just said, you're in that household, but you're not like that. Because like, it's taught. You open up your mind, and that's a beautiful thing right there. Because like, no, it stops with you. Your parents, family, whatever your situation is, they can be like that until they realize they're all alone. They'll realize they're wrong. That's not a hill you can die on. That society is moving forward. And also, just thank you for just doing that, man.
No, it's been a learning process for myself too, because not to the same extreme, but to a lesser extreme. So it's like the last few years, like I would punch myself if I was like 10 years ago because of the mindset that I was trying to break free of.
So you're growing though, you know. You said, you know. I'm buying, but hold on. You got something to say?
I did, but I was waiting.
Okay.
Okay, so
I'm all black people. So anyway,
hit me with the Kanye. But
It's not hitting you with the Drake.
oh man. I wanted to highlight what you just said because it's really important. Bill had told the panel that his grandfather's a vet. I'm also a vet. There's a lot of things that he just mentioned, like how you're taught things growing up, like you have conditional thinking. So a lot of that is due to like propaganda, and that's not just a color thing. That could be a city thing, a state thing. And one of the things that you said was that even you being part of the culture that you're a part of, you still look up to somebody like Bill. And I think that's really important because movies like 42, you know, that had to do with Jackie Robinson. He thought somebody was going to run up and mug him. And they're like, no, man, I want your autograph. And these are like little white kids practicing what he does at the batting. And they're like, those are the things that break down cultural barriers. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's really brave for you to say what you just said, because even when I was in the military, I was next to a racist, really tall, big white dude. And he told me, like, yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. Like, I was raised to not like black people, but because we was roommates and he got to see what it's like living with somebody that's black versus living vicariously and seeing how they live or how they are on TV or whatever, then it was like, oh, okay, we actually have a lot more commonality. And speaking about commonality, and we're talking about representation, bringing back Kyle Haybear, another thing you guys had in common was, besides him representing the autistic community and you representing a black community, and there's more communities that you represent, I found that you said that you did radio in college, and that's how he started off as well. And I think that's really cool that you guys found your voice doing that.
That's literally how our friendship started. I interviewed him on the radio. He's like, you know, I started like Radio Disney. I'm like, let's go! And just started talking at the for like an hour, and that we became close as friends. I'm not saying where I live, but we're actually neighbors. And I literally married him to his current wife.
Wow, that is amazing!
That's
Congratulations to you and him.
Yeah, so like he's a real good dude.
That's awesome.
Oh, I've met him so many times. I love Kyle, but I have to equally say I am a huge fan because I mentioned prior to the interview you voice my favorite dad from Horimiya. If you haven't seen it, it's yes, technically a romance series, but it has a lot of comedy, and it actually talks a lot about mental health at the same time, which I really appreciated because it's a great series that helps people feel comfortable. But I wanted to mention, as I know we're close to wrapping up,
I'll stay a little longer than you, so.
Well, I have to go with the overall.
I will stay a little longer than you. I got the, oh, you is? Oh my bad.
I don't want to get arrested. I've already been there. It's not fun.
I can't go back to jail.
But what I wanted to reference is with Horimiya, for anyone who doesn't know, that is the most diverse cast of actors and actresses in voice acting. You have so many individuals of people of color that it made me so proud to see, because I think even way back to the days of The Simpsons, until more recently, you now have people of color voicing people of color. Not to say Harry Shearer or anyone else was doing anything mean, but they didn't represent a lot of equality in the genre because it wasn't there. And so pioneers like yourself, Bo Billingsley, who is the ultimate sweetheart. I cried when I met him because I love Jet. You are pioneers, and I ultimately want to say on myself, and I imagine we all believe it, thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for standing up for everybody, and please don't stop.
As long as my heart's beating, we ain't stopping. When I'm dead, guess what? Someone's take up the mantle.
Absolutely.
I guess.
We have to wrap
I was just
up.
gonna say, what was it? You had a big announcement that you doing today, and I just didn't want to miss out on that.
Yes, please share.
Circles back to Raider. My career
Real quick.
started, eventually led on to one of my jobs right now is I'm the little mascot for a game called Honkai Star Rail. We hit our 1 year anniversary, and I believe in 2 weeks on the 30th, we're doing a live event in Los Angeles. It's all on their Twitter right now. It'll be hosted by yours truly.
I think my final thoughts is you are awesome, so thank you. And any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Just
Fully?
keep kicking ass for everybody out there, and you know, paving the way forward for little kids who look up to you in whatever fashion that's going to change how the industry is for the better.
Absolutely. Appreciate that in you, by the way.
Thank you.
I ain't letting that go, fam. It's bigger than you think. For real.
Thanks for being the bill that paid it forward.